questions too. Wait, sit down, sit down. So
Hang on. Hang on. I didn't realize we were starting right now. Oh, geez. Okay. I could have used a 3-second count, but all right.
sorry,
Uh,
it just goes after you press the thing. It just
oh, I
goes.
didn't realize you pressed it. Okay, we're on.
Are we? I don't see
So,
it.
sorry to anyone who saw my midriff.
I didn't see it. Are we even live?
Hi, Morgan.
Oh, you see it. Okay, good. Whew. All right, I gotta go back over there then. Hello, good people. Good to be with you guys today.
I saw
Okay.
us for a second and now I don't see at all.
Oh, I see it. I see it. I had to go back. I had to go back out of the channel and then come back into the channel.
Okay, wait, hang on. I can hear myself and uh,
Hey, Flower. 1 second. As soon as ASO finds the live, she'll make you a moderator. It's Flower and Forgiveness. I'm sorry.
oh, flower and forgiveness. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are chatting so fast. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Okay. Do I do managing or standard?
Managing is fine, standard, either one. She's good to
Okay.
go. She knows what to do.
I mean, I trust you, flower. Hi guys. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry. We're starting a little Hot Mess Express, but like, let's be real. What's more on point than that, right? Thank you guys so much for being here. Hi, everyone. Hi, Taylor. Hi, Flower. Hi, Morgan. Hi, Lavisha. Hi, Rochelle. Hi, QT. Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for joining my live with the amazing, incredible K Moon. Can we just appreciate how beautiful she is? Like, this is her first, or I guess technically second, face reveal. And it is just so awesome to have her here on my live today. Um, we became friends a long time ago, like 2021, probably.
Yeah, yeah. I would say it was like 2021. But it like took us a minute to like hit a groove. And frankly, I'm gonna take responsibility for that. I think that was my
No,
Scorpio
as me
moon and
too.
my trust issues. I trust no one.
Scorpio moon tings, we get it. And also, like guys, for example, I didn't know what she looked like for like a year. Like that's the level of like,
Scorpio
okay, that
mooning
didn't
I was
matter.
on. I was on some Scorpio mooning hardcore.
Um, so we love to just be on the phone talking all the time. You know, we're in two different places, but we can spend, I'm pretty sure we spent like what? We can spend like 9 or 10 hours just like kikiing on anything. We'll be looking at birth charts, we'll be reading. It's just so much fun. She has become one of my favorite people in the entire world and also is just an incredibly, incredibly talented astrologer. Um, so we have called this meeting for several reasons. When we hang, it is a total vibe. And I know like that long sounds really crazy, but I promise it's because like first of all, we work from home and so we're isolated a lot. And then when we're busy and then we finally can talk, we're just like, like it's like a sleepover. Um, so it's fun. And it's just such a vibe. And we were craving a chance to share that with you guys. We have an amazing class that we've co-created that we want to invite you to, which is the big announcement I've kind of been teasing, which we will tell you about in a little bit. So today we're going to get up to a few things. We are going to do an in-depth Q&A. We are going to do a rapid fire Q&A where you had questions around like getting to know us. We're going to share how we got here on YouTube, like what the catalyst was spiritually and things like that. Um, and we invite you guys to the class that we built to that. Hopefully you guys will want to join. We cannot wait to show you that. And then we are going to do more Q&A after we go in depth in the class, and then we're going to close with a final rapid fire round, and we'll try to work with the chat as we go. So Thank you to everyone who added questions in my post. It was not only so helpful, but you guys asked so many awesome questions. Like I was actually kind of like blown away. I was like, there's so many good questions in here. How are we gonna figure out which ones to answer? So that was super helpful. So thank you to everyone who did that.
Right on. Okay, so should we begin with some questions for our queen here? Lovely.
Uh, Maybe we should just start with you saying a little something and sharing with everyone, and then we'll get into it.
Okay, amazing. So, if you're new to me, welcome. My name is K Moon, and I'm a Western astrologer and twin flame channel. And you can find me at Kaymoon Astro here on YouTube. I am on no other social media platforms at this point, just YouTube. And I started my channel back in 2019 and sort of 2018, and I've had the amazing privilege to read for clients all over the world, celebrities and politicians and people just like you and me who are mystics, seekers, truth tellers, truth seers, who just want to understand how to work with the present energies in a way that's super empowering to them. One of the things that I specialize in as an astrologer is making sure that you know not just what's coming, but how to work with it so that you're not so victimized, pushed around by it. Sure, it's a full moon, but does that mean we all have to go crazy? No, there's so many choices we have. And if you're curious about how that all works, then you can find me over at kmoonastro.com. That's my website, and at Kaymoon Astro here on YouTube. And I would be very interested in hanging out with you for the next 8 weeks in the course that we're about to invite you to, because I think that's going to be a great way for you to find your way into your own empowerment when it comes to not only astrology, but also tarot.
Yay! So should we get started?
Yes! Okay, I have questions for you. I saw questions and I wanted to ask. Is that okay? Can I ask you?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, first question, somebody asked, how do you distinguish from your inner voice versus spirit's voice and their guidance?
Well, that's really interesting because I would assume the question is asking like, and maybe more on an, because like when they say voice, I'm thinking like, oh, like when I hear things. Um, I got a lot of my inner dialogue is always gone. So, like I have to work on quieting that. I would say when spirit's voice comes through, it's usually kind of unmistakable because you feel it in a very deep way. But also like you know, as someone who is a medium, like if I'm hearing like a voice or something, it may not necessarily be spirits. So honestly, I usually ignore a lot of stuff like that unless it has like a profound uh impact on me. Like if it feels super loving, it feels super like brings me clarity, I would say I would trust that. But even then, I don't really like to take things at face value when it comes to like voice and hearing, just because it could be my own inner dialogue. It could be like, interference. It could be different things. So usually I kind of wait until I'm in a sort of centered and grounded space where I'm seeking that guidance, so then I can trust that I know I'm getting that guidance from who I'm trying to talk to. But with that being said, I mean, there are plenty of times where spirit comes through and it's just it feels different than your inner dialogue or, like that voice. It's more emotionally moving, and it usually drops some sort of wisdom bomb on me that like blows my mind for a second. So, yeah.
Love that. It's a really, really good question. And thank you for that answer. Okay. Can you give examples? Somebody asked for people how their intuition and their different clairs may show up for people in their regular daily life versus how people may imagine or misperceive what it's like to be psychic and tuning into their clairs and gifts.
Fantastic question. And I also just want to say, like, chat, I love you guys so much. Thank you for everyone who's just, being so kind. So happy to have you guys here. Uh, so How they show up, I think in general, a lot of like human experiences are more subtle than we recognize. Um, and I think in terms of misperception, I think the misperception is often that number one, this psychic information comes through super clearly and super accurately. Like a lot of times, let's say clairaudience, for example. I think my clairaudience mostly manifests in terms of random songs getting stuck in my head that I haven't listened to for a really long time, and then me starting to be like, I wonder what that's about. And then maybe realizing there's a lyric in there that has a message for me, or um tuning into it and feeling like, maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's oh, I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is like you experience the phenomena, but you may not necessarily know why. I think that there might be an assumption in general that the experience of clairs in general is like you know exactly when it's happening, you're in control of it, or it's like this otherworldly experience, but it's not. It's just a very human experience. Like when you see something in your mind's eye, when you visualize something, when you get a vision coming to you, like it's something that I feel like can almost be so subtle that when you take a step back from it, it feels like it's not real and you can even forget it. And I feel like that's why signs are so powerful because they can connect links to intuitive hits you've had and then be like, oh wow, like I all these dots are connecting now. I see what's happening. But I think that people misperceive in the sense that I think that people assume that we always understand what's happening or that it's an experience that's far more intense or like active. Like I have an example that I want to use, but I don't really feel like it's appropriate to use online. And I'm trying to think of
Be
another one. And
inappropriate.
okay. So if you have done psychedelics and you watch a show where people are doing psychedelics, you can tell whether the writer has ever been on psychedelics or not. And it's really funny to see the difference between what a writer thinks psychedelics are like versus what psychedelics are actually like. And so it's funny to see like how it's a lot funnier when it's somebody that gets it. Like the studio on Apple TV, Seth Rogen's show, I think it just got a lot of awards. There's a episode there where you can tell they've partaken. It's very funny, but typically the TV representation is like, oh man, there's all these crazy colors and like, oh man, like I'm tripping balls, dude. But like realistically, it's like you still feel like normal and human. It's just a different like you're still there. Like I feel like there's this assumption like, oh, like you go to this different place, dude, and like you just see crazy stuff and like but it's I mean like you're still where you are. You're still like in your body, you're still thinking with your brain. It's just a little bit different. And I think that psychic abilities are kind of that way where it's like it's not as like intense or taking you so far away from reality than it really is. It's like the psychic gifts are grounded in our own physical and mental, emotional, spiritual abilities that we already have, and they're like not as grand or inaccessible as we might think.
Love that answer.
Long
Thanks
story short.
so much.
Should we switch to you, Miss K?
Yeah, we can. We'll do some questions for me and pick one that we can both answer, and that's how we'll switch. You answer it, then I'll answer it, and then we'll go to questions for me. How about that?
Okay. How do you recover after channeling something negative?
Yeesh. Okay. Well, first of all, ouch. One of the earlier teaching I've had in my clairaudience is that, first of all, like if it's coming from the divine, if it's coming from source, if it's coming from God, God told me early on, like, I will never come to you in fear. I will never try to make you afraid. I will never try to tell you things. I will never tell you things that make you feel less than or like or that you're going to suffer. That I love you too much to do that to you. And so that is a key discernment piece for me. I know you were talking about discernment earlier,
Mhm.
is I have a specific relationship both with my guidance team and with Source, with God, where our agreement is that that's just not how we deal with each other. And I extend that to you all as something you can do as well. You can establish that sort of agreement. But I came home from something late one night and it I was out and somebody was trying to talk to me about why I was single and like speak a word to me. And it was just full of a lot of things that brought up a lot of fear in my heart and in my mind back in the day. And as I came home in tears, like mascara streaming down my face, God just spoke a word to my heart, was like, I'm never going to say anything to you that's true, that's going to make you feel this way. Release what that person said. So establishment of who you're speaking to is first. And then when it comes to releasing something negative that I might be tapping into, because I feel like both of us have seen really difficult things on people when we read, like psychically, we channel in and we see like painful things that people are going through and growing through. One of the things that I like to always remember for myself is that there's nobody here on earth that didn't choose to be here. We're all walking our soul path, soul contract, learning our lessons, and also here for our leadership. Um, and so when I see something like that on a person, I'm always like, wow, it's a tough lesson, but I always trust that we're also never here without help. So they probably have some guidance to walk through it, to navigate it. And I really do trust that God, Holy Spirit, the divine, our archangels, ancestors, they're walking with us and helping people who are in need at all times. Most of the time, we just need to ask for it.
That's such a good answer. And it's interesting too because I was thinking about the question only in the context of like my reads for others. I wasn't even thinking about in the context of myself. But like in the context of myself, actually, I feel like I don't really channel a lot of negative things. If anything, I feel like the biggest thing that I channel and actually the biggest thing that I like go to my guidance for is encouragement. I feel like I'm the negativity. Like I'm the fear. And I'm working on that. But um in terms of channeling and readings, there's a lot of protection, ritual, things that I do to ensure that when I'm in that space that I am safe. Now, the reading that I did most recently, like whose head are you living in rent free? Each of those readings, there were some intense energies in each of them. And in one of the groups, you will literally hear me say, like, guys, I'm kind of uncomfortable. I don't really think I can continue to be in their mind. Their mind doesn't really feel safe. I'm really uncomfortable. I'm gonna move forward, especially because when you are in those energies, a lot of times what you pick up on or what you read won't really be helpful or useful information. They might not be sovereign, they might be really struggling. You just never know. So in terms of recovering from that, I think it's actually not very challenging to do so because those protections are in place. The one thing I will say is it's pretty easy for me to like let go of what I've done when I sit down and work, and then I go back into my human brain mode. So the biggest thing in terms of recovering, like sleep, chilling, if I really need it. But truthfully, like, it's I think I've got good systems in place to kind of protect from that. And ultimately, too, like, I think that I just kind of have this determination to not let things like that get me down. And also, too, like, I don't know, I think it just feels really good to tell my own fear to just like shut the fuck up. So, like, can't hear you, girl, don't care.
That's real. Let's do one more and then we will go into our rapid fire round, shall we?
Okay, well, that's hard because there's so many good questions. How do I choose? Okay, I'm gonna ask you this question, and then if you want me to answer it as well, I will. How do you deal with manifesting larger things when there is nothing but negativity? I know a lot say that's not reality or I don't accept anything negative, that sort of thing, but sometimes it gets overwhelming. I'm trying to manifest my store staying open, aka keeping my job, but my coworkers and some managers are just extremely negative. I feel worn down by pushing the positivity. Any insight, answer, advice is welcome.
Yeah, I really love this question. Because when you're like, for example, at a job like you are, and you're on a shift and you're 8 hours a day locked in with the same people, and obviously you're going to talk, everyone's talking. One of the things that I've had to do for myself was just like physically get up and walk to the other side of the room, walk in another, go into another space, take a bathroom break, um, go clean something, like literally activate my hands in the third dimension to refocus my mind when people are spiraling. Because people will spiral. This is one of those moments in human history where we are seeing so much upheaval, change, transition, and transformation all at the same time. And it's creating a lot of uncertainty, fear, a lot of discomfort for people. And many people's reaction to discomfort is to lean hard into, let me find the worst case scenario so that I'm prepared if it should happen. And I know, and you know, because you're here with us, that that's a defense mechanism. It's not actually what they really want and how they really think. So, the other place I go to in my heart and mind is compassion. That this person has probably been disappointed a lot and in pain a lot. And really hearing the pain behind their words sometimes helps me localize what's unfolding to their space without adopting it within mine. And when that's not an option, to the left, like I'm on the other side of the store, I'm organizing things, I'm looking to see what else can be done. I'm checking with the manager. I know this probably, isn't in my role, but what do you need? I'm trying to stay busy. In other words, movement. I'm trying to stay in motion physically because if I'm physically in motion, I can't ruminate in the same way. And believe your girl, if anyone in the chat has a Scorpio moon, you already know about rumination. You already know that is a trap. So, Asa, what do you got?
I mean, I think it is challenging, and I do just want to validate, like, it is hard to stay positive in a sea of negativity. And I think one of the things about negativity is that it is denser than positive energies. That's why it hits so hard, It can almost be like a gut punch. Like I remember when I was like before I before I was on here on the YouTubes, uh and really struggling, uh, you know, positivity was almost painful for me to hear because I was in such a dark space, like had been like in a deep depression for many years. And I don't say that lightly, like to the point where just like life is, you're just apathetic and like nothing means anything. You live, you work, you die. Like this is all BS. Like I would literally sit on my couch and be like, oh my God, if like I don't, if something doesn't happen to me in a freak accident, like, and I remain healthy, like I could theoretically be living for like another 60 years I would get overwhelmed by the idea of like, I have to be here for so much longer. Like, yeah. So when you're in those spaces and just everything seems bleak, like that positivity can hurt. And you're not doing anything wrong by being positive. But I think for me, that insight helps me be more accepting of a lot of the negativity that might be around me because I recognize like, I mean, it's a rough place to be in. It's a rough like perspective to have, like it's deeply painful. Um, and so I think for you, you really just need to give yourself permission, like Kay was talking about, to protect your peace, to do things where you kind of separate yourselves from them in a way where at least when you're around them, you're not. talking about things that you know they'll bring up in a negative way. And I would also be hesitant to share your own positive perspectives because I feel like there might be the tendency to be combative with those. People that are really stuck in a negative mindset, it can be really hard for them to see anything other than that. And I would say, if the store doesn't stay open, obviously, I do not want you to lose your job. That is horrible. And our queen Jen just said in the chat that when she's in depression, positivity makes her angry and want to lash out. So like, yeah, exactly. Like that is so on point of what I was talking about. Thank you, Jen. And so I think just give yourself permission to protect yourself because it is hard to maintain a positive perspective when you are surrounded by negativity. Give yourself permission to take space, to not have to talk about certain things, and to not feel like you need them to hear your positive perspective. Because it's something that deserves to be protected. I would also, make sure that you do some sort of energy work before and after you go to work because it's possible you could be holding on to some of their negativity, taking it in. Um, and you may not even be realizing it, if you're a more sensitive person. So, whatever happens though, if the store doesn't stay open, I mean, obviously, I would never want you to lose your job or anything like that, but I would imagine that there's probably a much better job and a much more positive environment, that might be more beneficial. But we don't know that. And if the best thing for you is the store staying open, I really hope it does. And I think that probably just one of the best things to do is to put yourself first and protect your own consciousness and avoid conversations that you know will spark negativity in them. And if that's pretty much everything that they talk about, then I would maybe leave it at pleasantries.
Love it.
Oh my God, Kanso, thank you very, very, very much. That is so generous of you. Thank you. I'm interested and involved in Chinese astrology and also called the Bazi Four Pillars of Destiny. Would love to know your main self sign is possible. I have no idea. I will have to look at that. My favorite avatar character, though, that is really hard. Um, Probably Appa or Toph. I don't know. What about you, Kristen?
I would say probably my favorite ATLA character was Iroh. I just loved his
Oh, how can I forget Iroh? Like,
yeah.
50 lashings to the eyeball for that
Uncle
one.
Iroh was everything for me. Like sometimes I watched it just to follow his like character arc. In fact, it was like one of the only shows that I own. Okay, that brings us into our rapid fire questions. What's your favorite TV show? So we're gonna do these in a minute, 1 minute, and you're gonna answer as many as you can. Are you ready?
I'll try.
You're gonna try. I'm gonna set my timer. Okay. If you were to move to a different country outside America, what are your top three options?
I don't think I'd move outside of America if I'm being completely honest.
What's your favorite spiritual concept, idea, or quote?
Uh, that's not a rapid fire. I guess my favorite quotes are quotes. Anything that Winnie the Pooh has said. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Bars. Favorite spiritual book, podcast, movie.
Anything written or spoken by Alana Fairchild.
What's your favorite Bible verse?
I think I commented it, but I think it's Galatians 3:28, 3:28 maybe. It just popped up recently. Let me make sure that's the right one. If I can find it.
We just did.
Galatians 3:28. Yeah.
Okay, we just did the timer. What's it say?
There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus.
I love that. That's
We are
good.
all one in unconditional love, and I love that.
Fun. That's what's up. Okay. All right, I'll go and I'll do one round and then we'll go into a little bit of story time because I see some of y'all had some questions, some story time questions.
Okay, so If you were to move to a different country outside of America, what are your top three options?
France, Canada, Australia.
And I
Maybe.
do just have to say to that, like the only reason I say I wouldn't move to a different country is because I don't like bureaucracy, and international bureaucracy seems like something that is just over just too much. And also I get overwhelmed going to the grocery store. I don't know if I could handle an international move. Like just being real. I need my family nearby and they wouldn't be coming with me. So okay. What is your favorite spiritual concept, idea, quote?
Um, oh, it's one that says, don't ask what the world needs, but instead find out what makes you truly alive and then go and do that because the world needs more people who are fully alive. I think that's by Howard Thurgood. I'm misrepresenting the name. Next question.
Favorite spiritual book, podcast, movie?
The Prophet, Khalil Gibran.
What's your favorite Bible verse?
I've got two. Luke 145, blessed is she who believe, for she shall see a fulfillment of the promises of God. And 1 Corinthians 13:13. And these three remain, hope, faith, and love. But the greatest among these is love.
It's beautiful. How do you prefer to spend your free time? What free time?
Right. Well, it's a toss up between what free time and how inappropriate can it lie. I have some very inappropriate answers that come to mind, but let's just say binge watching shows and sleeping.
And that would literally be my exact answer.
Okay. Oh, I think we got two a minute. I think we're good.
Okay. So,
All right, story time.
mhm.
Okay. So, a lot of you guys asked us how we got to where we are in different versions of that question. You wanted to know how we got started, what happened that made us pick up tarot, in my case, astrology. What's the BTS of this moment right here? And so, we've put together our personal stories to share with you exactly the answer to the mini formats of that question that you left for us. So, Aso, I'll let you go first. Feel free to dive in.
So I do have a video on this, but it's just a little bit old. Like I've got like my brown hair like old. You can check that out, but to make a long story short, what I was mentioning,
Please make it long.
okay. Well, I guess with me that's always the case because I can't make anything simple, really. Uh, we already kind of mentioned like for a long portion of my life, I was very, very like I was in a very dark place. Um, I was born into organized religion, and was a deeply spiritual child, but a lot of the things that I was taught, were not what I felt in my heart. And obviously, as a child, um, that you start to think you're wrong because, why would adults lie? Like, and they're not lying, is what they believe, but like, why the adults can't be wrong. And so humans, we have a tendency to think in black and white. And so that then led into me not believing in anything because Christianity was oh, and shout out to Judaism actually, because when I was like 11, I realized that people who practice Judaism, like they don't believe in hell. And so I was like, wait a second. There are other like this isn't like a every religion thing. And then I was just like, oh, it kind of snapped something in me where I was like, oh, like I don't have to believe in that. But I was also starting to enter tweendom and teenagerdom. So, hormones, raging cynicism, nihilism, all those fun things were there. So I just really kind of stopped believing in anything. And I would never call myself an atheist. That's a big, big point. I never would call myself that because I felt like in doing that, I was almost putting myself in another group as like a belief sort of thing. So I would just always say, I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything. And that was that. And that was a very painful belief to have. And I had that belief for probably, I mean, I'm not going to do the math right now, but definitely over a decade. So, by the time I was a senior in college, I was studying psychology at the time. I was like, I need to find a way to get in touch with myself. I felt out of control. I didn't know how to get in touch with myself. And actually, I saw a YouTube tarot video and I was like, this is gonna be bullshit. And then I clicked on it and then I was like, that was accurate. Like, what? Um,
Wait, how did you get into YouTube tarot videos in the first place? Did it just show up in the algorithm randomly, or were you searching?
yeah, it just showed up. Like I remember that like maybe like 4 years before I had a friend who gave me like a reading, but she had just got the deck for herself. And so we were kind of like, so when she was pulling, like, it wasn't like she was giving me essentially, we realized like, oh, I really like what she had said in that reading came true. And so that's why I was open to even clicking on it. And so then I started getting a little bit curious and I was like, okay, well, let me just get a deck for myself and then we'll see. That was September 1st, 2019. And that was when I got my first deck, which was just a standard Rider-Waite. And yeah, I that really completely changed the trajectory of my life. Like that is what opened me up spiritually again and what made me realize like, oh, like the universe didn't turn its back on me. God didn't turn their back on me. Like I turned my back on God. I turned my back on the universe. And I started just opening up to thoughts and ideas that I didn't really allow myself to have because, I was very cynical and, wasn't in a place to be thinking abstractly about certain things. Self-doubt and overwhelm were a huge part of my life. I wanted to know like why I was here. And I think for a long time I didn't. And, the one key thing that I knew I did want to do is I wanted to help people. That's why I was in psychology. And, I knew that was, I still have to go to grad school and that's going to be lots more years of work. Um, Yes, I hear you, Andrea, about agnosticism. I didn't consider myself an agnostic because I didn't really believe in anything. I was like, yeah, maybe it's there. And I know that's kind of technically agnosticism, but like I really didn't. I was just like, it just felt like nothing. Um, so I guess I wasn't like open to the idea that there was something. I was just like, there's nothing.
How did
Um,
tarot help for you?
what?
How did tarot help for you?
So what it did was it gave me a mirror into myself for me to see my inner world outside of myself for the first time, for me to start putting pieces together that I couldn't on my own, just moving through life. I think it can be very hard, like even when we are self-aware, to really recognize what's going on. And when there's a lot of turmoil, or we're really struggling, tarot can really cut through a lot of the nonsense and give you a sense of understanding and an ability to kind of see things for yourself in a way that just feeling and sensing you might not. I think the visual component is very powerful. Symbolism is very powerful. And I think that what starting this journey did for me is it really opened me up to a world of self-empowerment where I could start to see myself through a new lens, through new cards, and use that as a catalyst to this whole new world of exploration and growth and spirituality and healing and service and kindness and love. And I'm very grateful for that. But I definitely, like, I would say a lot of the things that brought me to tarot were existential and existential crisis related. And the desire to just, like, I can't be stuck in myself anymore. And in doing that, it really helped me start to take some power for myself and not feel powerless and realize like I can have control, more control over my life than I realized, and I can make different choices and I can look at things in different ways and Yeah, sorry.
It's great. I invited you to make the short story long, and I
Yeah, yeah, well, I took that invitation maybe a little too literally, but
no, it's all good. Um, I will share my story. Yeah.
hmm.
So, likewise, I was going through a pretty significant existential crisis. I've run my own business since 2006. In various iterations, I've worked for myself. And so, 20, like roughly about 8 or 9 years in, I started having like these questions and wanting to shift and pivot my business. So I did. Um, and I pivoted like really fast on like a rebrand that I don't think I appropriately prepared my audience for at that time. And so when I tried to like launch a new course and new work and nobody bought, like I ran out of like the 3 month like runway savings that I had to sustain myself on my own. And I had been working up to like 6 months savings, but I only had three at that time. And within 90 days, because there was just no money coming in at all, I ended up needing to sublet the apartment where I lived and move back in with my parents. And that was an experience. And I thought it would just be for like, a month, 2 months, while, I kind of just, really supported my audience in pivoting with me. That 2 months turned into a year. And over the course of that year, I found out I had uterine fibroids, a thyroid disorder. Both of my grandparents died within 90 days of one another. And I found out I owed the IRS something like 60 grand in back taxes. It was something like, oh, lest I forget, like the boyfriend that I had at the time, um, like he broke up with me to be with another girl. We were long distance, but he broke up with me to be with another girl in the same city that I was in. So he moved to my city from across the country, not for me, but for this other girl.
You better hope you don't run into me. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
If you're a subscriber on my channel, you know this story, like long term, but because I tell it once in a while, but it was something like every 60 days, I got more bad news. And it was just felt like my life was starting to disintegrate right before my eyes. Like things just couldn't get worse, but then they kept getting worse and worse. And like I had no choice but to get up and hustle my hiney off day after day to try to turn things around. And I mean, thankfully, I have parents who, though we are very far apart on the spectrum of belief, and kind of like political, religious, all of that, they were still like, yeah, just come home. But also, when are you leaving? Like, can you leave? Like, when? What's the move out date again? So all of that to say, it was a really difficult year. And, like, I am a really great student of like Tony Robbins and Abraham Hicks and manifestation stuff. And I had done all the things that I knew how to do. I had prayed. I had done everything that I knew how to do to try to turn things around and keep it together mentally, because inside I was falling apart. Like I felt like I had no control over my situation and circumstance. I couldn't make any of it mean anything. It just felt like suddenly the universe was taking this giant dump on me. Like, I wondered if I was crazy for continuing to try to work for myself, but every time I'd gotten a job, I'd gotten fired. Like, I'm kind of a born and bred entrepreneur. I never have worked at a job long enough for it to be something that fulfilled me or anything that they were like, yeah, we love your work, stay here. Never. Um, and I kind of started to wonder by the end of that year, like, am I cursed? Like, am I destined to struggle? And so I remember one of my anxiety activities late at night is after I closed my laptop for the day and I was laying in bed. I had this little astrology app in my phone, and I'd be sitting, sleeping, like lying there, going through the app and what it all said about like current transits. And I would look it up. Like I would see what the app said, and then I would go to Google and I would look up and read every article, click on every article on the first page. And I stumbled across a little transit called Saturn Transit Moon. And turns out that was a big transit, a 7 year transit, and I was in the heart of the worst part of it. Now, if you've studied Vedic astrology, you already know what Saturn transit moon is all about. Um, Shout out to the Pisces and Aries moons out there because you're going through it now. It's a tough one where everything that's not meant to be with you get stripped out of your life. And that was the first time I felt like I had an explanation, some clarity, some hope. And the first time that I felt like, oh, so this is trying to help me. The universe isn't just trying to like punish me for past life, like misdeeds and wrongdoings. Like I'm not cursed. Like I'm actually in on a growth track. Got it. When I started to really get that aha moment, that was when I was like, okay, well, then I know what I need to do. I need to solve this, fix that, release that, move this in this direction. That's not me. This is not me. This is what I need to focus on. And I finally got to calm down because I understood what was happening and what its divine purpose was. And it really helped me to trust myself. It also helped me to feel um, like I could trust my own intuition again. So, because I could see how I ended up in the spot that I was in, because I wasn't listening to my intuition in a lot of the circumstances in the first place. So, all of that to say, once I really started to pull things back on track, I started to feel clearer about who I was, confident about my choices. I started to feel hopeful that, okay, life can work out for me again. I'm not stuck. Um, and yeah, I had to move in with my parents, but it's not the end of my story. There is more to come here. And so, yeah, in that vein, um, it really helped me to understand that I think the big aha for me was that for me, that was the first time that I didn't just intellectually know, but personally felt, oh, the divine really does have my back. Like I'm not out here alone. Like this is really all these things that are quote unquote happening to me really indeed are happening for me. And now I understand the big picture and the why. And that was a big deal for me. Um, a really big deal for me. And I feel like this is a good time to like share our class because I feel like some of you guys are wanting some of the same thing. Would you say, ASO?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that for sure.
Okay. So we have an invitation for you. We did put this class together. It is called Cards and Stars, and it's a major arcana and astrology course for beginners. And we are going to host it. It's 222 USD, but it goes deep. And honestly, the two of us thought a lot about charging a lot more, but we were like, okay,
What it's worth, to
yes,
be transparent. Uh,
that's exactly it. But we really wanted to give you an opportunity, like us, to be in a place where you can take your intuition to the next level, where you can trust more, where you can discern fear and negativity and other people's voices from your own higher self, where you would be able to, look at situations that you've been in and know for yourself where and how the universe had your back and how it has your back now. And be able to have a container to make really good decisions around school, work, relocation, and start to understand what's behind the scenes in your life and co-create with it so that you're not out here on your own trying to figure all of this out. And if you have complicated relationships, I mean, my relationship with my family is complicated. Same with, just different people that you come across at work. Some of you mentioned that in the chat. This course will help you come to clarity and know what to do so that you're not at the mercy of challenging situations. In this course, it's 8 weeks. We're going to teach you some of the hidden secrets of the major arcana and the tarot and link what's going on in the tarot with the astrology. And I feel like this is really the piece where a lot of people get stuck. This is what stops you from seeing what you want to see and actually seeing what's really there. If you're able to understand the astrological underpinnings of the major arcana cards, it takes you out of the wishful thinking component. And that's what we want to empower you with is that discernment and neutrality that'll give you the opportunity to know what you need to know when you need to know it. We'll also teach you how to use it to decode circumstances and people, and give you a sense of how you can use it in your life. So class starts on October 6th. We're going to take a journey through the major arcana together. All classes are pre-recorded. You can listen whenever you're ready that week or later because you do get lifetime access. But then every Friday during the live course, we've got office hours. So if you've been enjoying picking our brain, getting to know us today, you're going to get the opportunity to take that deeper. We don't mind answering questions outside of the course material. We just want to make sure we prioritize answering questions about the content first. But then after that, just about anything is fair game. We'd love to get to know you and have you get to know us. We do have an integration week on October 27th. No office hours, no class. And then, of course, the Thanksgiving week, the American Thanksgiving holiday will be taking off. We land on December 1st with Judgment and the World just in time for the last month of the year. And it is a great class to learn more about what the universe is trying to tell you. Doors close in 11 days. And so we invite you to join now so that you can learn more about how to trust your own intuition. You will get a 40 plus page digital workbook, optional weekly practice if you decide to take it on, and a private member area. And the content, like I said, is yours for life. It's $222 to join, and we think that we should have charged a lot more, like $444. But when we stopped and talked about it, with one another, let me fix the camera there. There we go. When we stopped and spoke about it together, I think the thing that we really landed at was how important it was during such a moment of significant transformation and change here on the planet, given how many of you are wanting clarity, wanting to trust, wanting to know for yourself, not wanting to feel like victims in your situations with family, with friends, at work. We wanted to put tools in your hand that transformed our lives and brought us into our personal power when it came to knowing that the divine had our back, knowing how to co-create, and being really clear about our next steps. So we invite you to join now, and we look forward to working with you over the course of the 8 weeks. What would you like to add?
Like the first thing I want to add is one of the questions that you guys asked was, is tarot reading accessible to everyone or only to a few who are more spiritually attuned? Tarot reading is accessible to everyone. So is reading astrology. So this class will not only give you a foundation to start, but also we're going deep. Like we're going into, there's a reason why. we are focusing on planets and signs in the major arcana is because these are very foundational parts of both disciplines. And there's so much there. And, the information, like, there's so much information, it can be overwhelming. Um, I think that I took to tarot very quickly because I am a very visual learner. Um, but I know that's not the case for everyone. This is a beginner class, Molly. So if you're more advanced, you're probably gonna be like, why am I here? Like there might be parts where you are interested, where you do like it, but I think there might be parts where you could be a little bit bored if you're really advanced. But I think even if you have a foundation of tarot knowledge, I think the class is still beneficial. Um, One of the things that's really cool that happened as we started developing the class was we kind of realized, a lot of the traditional relationships between tarot cards and their astrological counterparts, I guess you could say, um, didn't necessarily make sense. Some do, some didn't. And so we created, this opportunity to elaborate on that. These are the traditional meanings, but these are connections that we've made that make sense. Kay especially, and looking at astrology, like and looking at things, made connections to astrological concepts in some of the cards and that, wouldn't be in like a traditional informational thing, but it makes so much sense and it's really cool. And one of the things that I struggle with um as a person who's interested in astrology, but definitely nowhere near on Miss Moon's level, uh I struggle to remember all of the things that can encompass the sign of Aries, the planet of Mercury. Like there's so much. And not only that, but like it gets so much denser and deeper than that. And so one of the cool things is mixing them together, learning both the tarot and the astrology. The cards almost give you like a visual cue of the different meanings that an astrological term, like all the meanings under the umbrella, uh, in a way where it's like easier to explain. I might be, what I'm saying might be sounding confusing, and I apologize if it is. But what I'm basically trying to say is that there's a new way to learn meanings, but also expand upon them. And we're also going to be doing things like looking at symbolism and going deeper so that, when you are reading for yourself, like, if you pull a card and you're having trouble interpreting it, maybe it's not a major arcana card, but you remember, oh, there's the symbolism from, it's got some of the similar symbols from the major arcana, and you remember learning that. So then you can apply it, and then that's more helpful. Really, the goal here is number one, to connect with you guys. Like, you guys have been asking me for a long time to do classes, and I've always been really nervous. Like, I've just been like, I don't know, like, is that, I don't know if I'm ready. But I am ready now. And I'm really excited because I feel like this is an opportunity to dive deep and really get a rich understanding. And even if you've never, even if you don't know anything about tarot or astrology, I actually think like this class could be helpful in terms of dipping your toe in the water and getting an idea of what that's like. Um, but yeah, and also it's an opportunity to hang with us every single Friday. We are going to be having an office hours from 2 to 4 p.m. where you guys can come in with your questions and we will sit down and answer with you guys and just do everything we can to give you the best information possible. We're going to have a workbook so you guys can ask your own questions and do deeper reflections. Really, this class is what you decide to make of it, but I'm really excited about it, and I think that you guys are really going to enjoy it. And yeah.
Yeah. All the inappropriate things we can't say here on YouTube, we'll probably let you in on it during office hours. So that would be fun. And karaoke could be arranged. I see some people asked about it in the
Not
chat.
for me, unless you want
It's up
bleeding
for
ears.
discussion. But that would be inside of office hours during our live experience. So I hope you guys join us. We are looking forward to having
Um,
you here.
Silvana asked if this is something that they need to actively participate in weekly or if they can watch the videos and do the work whenever. So yeah, you have lifetime access to this content. So, if you need to take a break, if you need to take a step back, go for it. It will be there when you're ready. And the beautiful thing is too, is even with the even you might like the only thing you're really going to miss are the live Q&As, but there will still be recordings of those for you to go back to later and reflect on. So this is definitely designed for you to go at your own pace. We just have a pace that we need to maintain in order to, get the class out. So definitely if you need to take breaks or anything like that, totally good.
That's a great question. And we'll keep an eye on the chat for more questions about the course. But I feel like now is a great time to jump back into our Q&A because there were a few questions that people had for you that I feel like they should hear your answer because they were good questions and you've got
Okay.
great insight. What is your favorite way to protect your peace or cleanse your energy?
Baths and showers are like my biggest cleansing go-to. I think that's kind of my biggest essential. I even like to actually, I mentioned Alana Fairchild earlier. I like to actually, because her guidebooks are always really meticulously well written. So it's kind of like almost reading a little book. I actually like to pull myself like a card or two sometimes and then get into the bath and then like read what the cards say and just kind of do all of that work all at once. Like my grounding and protection. And let's be real, like it's usually a bath, not a shower. Because if I can choose between standing or sitting, I'm gonna sit. Uh, but protecting my peace, logging off, turning my phone off, disappearing. That is how I do that. Uh, yeah.
Same. Absolutely the same. Do you have any recommendations for online shops where we can buy crystals? Somebody asks. You always have really fun shapes, pretty crystals in your pick a card readings.
So, yes. One recommendation is called Inner Vision Crystals, INNERVISION crystals. They are one of the largest retailers, I believe, with Moldavite and other really high vibe crystals and tektites. Um, they have a very, very strong reputation for just high quality stuff. I've been buying from them for years, and if you do buy from them, they, especially like if it's a decent order, they will put you on their VIP list and give you extra discounts. Definitely small business, and I've always found them to be really awesome. Loving Thyself Rocks is another place. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. They're very big, but actually, I would get a lot of my crystals not just from like from like the Etsy shop. They actually have an Instagram account. I don't know if it's still there. I had to step away from it so that my house didn't become more crystals than house. Um, it's a flash sale page. It's called like Loving Thyself Rocks flash sale. And so they are always like they're dropping different crystals and in flash sales and yeah, so I like to do that. And I also like to go in person. Like a lot of my coolest crystals I've bought, like one of my favorite crystals I bought in Barcelona. I think it's right. Yeah, it's right here. I found it in a little shop in Barcelona. It's this little citrine. Uh, yeah, the only like caution I would give you, be careful with retailers on Etsy. There's a lot of like scam stuff on there. Uh, but yeah, those would be my recommendations. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Those are really good ones. Last question I have here is someone says, Aso, what up though? Could you recommend a tarot deck for beginners that is not the Rider-Waite? For whatever reason, I'm bothered by the artwork of the Rider-Waite, but have not heard of any other deck being used to learn.
Sorry, I got distracted by a
I
question in
saw.
the chat.
You should make me a moderator.
I didn't realize you weren't. Where are you?
I'll post so you can find me. Um, because I saw that and I was like, you know what? There's some things that just don't need to, like, I don't think so. One of the things that I think reasons why ASO and I are opening up this community is because we really want to have a chance to be able to be more personal and personable with you guys and share some things about our journey in ways that, the wider drive-by community on our YouTube channels might not actually appreciate. I think people take for granted when you are in the public eye in this way, the way that, small comments can impact you when you are a highly sensitive individual and need to sustain high sensitivity in order to be able to do your work. Um, and thanks for being here, all. And I think one of the things that is a bit of a challenge when you're trying to navigate that is when people think that they're, because you are knowing so much about their life, sharing so much about who they are, and reflecting and validating so much, people mistake that validation for being in an actual personal relationship with you. And then they feel entitled to ask very personal questions about you when it's like you wouldn't even ask that to your next door neighbor. Why are you asking me? And it can be very laced with a lot of both, not only assumptions, but sometimes,
Judgment.
yeah, yeah. And I think we now know and have language for that as being like people kind of mistaking that familiarity. We call that having a parasocial relationship. But yeah, it's one of those things where when people feel entitled to ask personal questions to absolute strangers on the internet, it can it really can take us down in a way that you know, d- like I woke up this morning fretting about a comment somebody left on my channel 2 years ago. It's 2025, and that comment still gets under my skin. Not because it was true, but it's just that people walk in that level of like pain and depersonalization and disconnection from self that they feel entitled to hop on the internet and be disconnected with me. I mean, thankfully, I have beautiful, helpful moderators that go out of their way to thoughtfully curate my comment section and my chats. But I mean, this is one of the reasons I've never done a face reveal and one of the reasons ASO hates to be live. So,
Well, I do, yeah. I get very anxious about being live, especially just because I don't want a bunch of people spamming me with money thinking I'm gonna like just give them a reading. That's because I'm like, no, no,
Girl,
I
please.
Wait, can I just show? Yeah, that's it's very true. And I think that's something that you just like when you're a creator, you do have to deal with. But when you are more sensitive, like it's like, oh, well, stop being so sensitive. And it's like, okay, but I need to be sensitive in order to do my job. Also, this is just an extension of who I am. I am definitely a highly sensitive person, like for sure. And I do think that makes this more like this sort of job more challenging, but at the same time, I do feel like there's a lot of opportunities for growth. And I would say like, yeah, definitely. Like I think you guys would actually be shocked. Like if I think if you're not a creator, you can't really understand what it's like to be on the receiving end of some of these things, especially just after years, because like it does build. And I think you would actually be shocked at the things that you receive and hear from people. And I'm saying that as someone who has one of the best communities on YouTube. Like, I'm sorry, you guys, but you guys are the best. Like, I absolutely adore you guys. Like, you are so understanding and compassionate, and you guys encourage me. Like, every time I feel like anxious, like, oh my gosh, like there will be days where I won't post a video for like 2 days because I'm sick to my stomach because I'm just like, oh God, like, is it going to be bad or are they going to hate me? What are they going to think? Because, it's so common to just, be in a place where you're human and then all of a sudden people are like, you're different now, or you've changed or you seem off. And it's like, can I just exist? Because, like, if I'm not well, I'm not showing up. Like, period. Like, if I need peace, if I need to be grounded, if I need to care for myself, I am not going to have the capacity to even sit down and make a reading, let alone post it. So, it is kind of one of those things and I'm also like, how are you trying to read my energy while I'm reading energy? Like, you're not, like it's not really not the place, not the best time to be doing that, especially because like when I channel how I channel literally shifts based on the energy. Like, in one group I might be more cautious. I might be more like struggling with overthinking and self-doubt. And it's likely because that person is, and usually that follows through. And other ones, I am like loose as hell and way too unhinged. And those are kind of my favorite ones. But I'm like, I really hope someone who is not meant to see this reading, I hope they do not pick this group because those are going to be the ones that are going to be really mean to me and be like, I don't want to hear you talk. Like, just read the cards. And like, I get to choose how you sound if you say some mean shit to me. So be careful.
So there's an answer to a question that nobody asked, which is how do you deal with um, just staying in your game, staying present, staying sensitive, staying open to what you need to do when you are having the experience of, just being judged by every single passerby. Like, you put your art out there and people come by and critique it so freely. I think people really take for granted how that impacts artists, creators, entrepreneurs when you're the man in the arena. Like anyone can walk by and have some criticism, but I mean, until you got the ovaries to like jump in the arena, why are you even here? Like, don't you have something more productive to do with your time on the internet?
Really not. I will say though that like there are perks to it.
Talk
Um,
about the perks. Let's hear about the perks.
the perks are that it turns you into a bad bitch because like honestly, number one, yes, every time I show up in this space, it is somewhat like putting my hand on a burning hot stove because I cannot please everyone. And as a recovering people pleaser, you have no choice but to surrender because it's like you literally, it is impossible to make everyone happy. And not only that though, I think it can hit better or worse depending on how you're doing. But I feel like a lot of times when that stuff comes through, it's kind of funny because like it's just like, oh wow, thanks for telling me how you feel about yourself. Because you're not telling me anything about me. You don't know me. You literally see my hands. Like and I'm reading for you. So I it's one of those things for me where I'm like, I've had some really intense experiences, definitely some like public bullying by even other creators, and it's like and that doesn't like that doesn't matter, but like that's the shit where I'm like, oh, so I could literally just be doing nothing and minding my own business and I'm still doing something wrong and I'm still a problem and people are still gonna come for my neck. So I guess I should just set myself free. Now that being said, have I set myself free? Yes and no. I think that those things do take a toll on you. You become more protective of yourself. You become more insulated. And I think even too, it's actually less the mean ones and more the well-meaning ones that say hurtful things. And I think one of the things that I've learned about that is that more often than not, if you just say like how that lands for you, people understand and they stop. Like you guys are really awesome. And I feel like you guys like get like I think a lot of times like people say things from a place of because they care and they mean well. And if they knew that what they were saying wasn't helpful or was actually hurtful, they wouldn't do it. So I do feel like actually communicating and being like, hey, like, I like just saying that I think actually has a an impact. But also, one of the things that I've had to do, which actually like makes me really sad, is I'm not really in my comment section. Like which I do think is healthy. I don't think you should be in your comment section all the time. Um, when I first started, I certainly was because like your mind's blown that people are like watching you and interacting with you. But, like I think like I want to interact with my community because I love you guys. Like I want to interact with you guys more often. And it makes me sad that, sometimes like in a need to just like protect myself and feel safe, I miss out on connecting with you guys in the way that I want to as often as I can. It's like the comment section is an excellent example of that. Like, I show up and I interact when I can, but like there are times where I'm like, I'm too anxious to even like look at things. And like I just need like time. Um, but one of the things that I'm so grateful and thankful for is that every time I've been like sick with fear that like, this is gonna be the one. They're all gonna just like, set your house on fire because they think you suck. Like, which is obviously silly and delusional. Every single time, you guys are so loving, so supportive. And there's so many times where I've just been emotional, where I've just been like you guys are the reason I'm still doing this. Like I would not really genuinely not still be doing this if like the connections that we forged and like knowing that I get to make an impact in your life and knowing that like I get to help you, like that means like the fucking world to me. So thank you. And thank you for being kind. Thank you for being supportive of your creators. Because one thing I will say, just as a creator, when you see creators change, it's usually because they feel like they need to protect themselves because oftentimes they do because there are just a lot of things out there. And I think we're really lucky. We have really awesome audiences. And I think like, and maybe that's what makes the mean stuff hurt more is like because there's like such a contrast. It's like, you got so many good apples and then you eat a bad one, so it tastes like really bad. And I don't know. But all I do know is I'm just grateful as hell for you guys. And I wouldn't change anything because like honestly, like people are gonna criticize you, people are gonna be mean to you. Like anything you do in life, like people are gonna come for your neck. And maybe, um, you might see less of that if you're not, if strangers don't have the opportunity to anonymously tell you how you feel. But I do think it just helps you get stronger. And I feel like I'm more confident in the sense of like, I might get like metaphorically punched in the face and hear some really hurtful shit or something might happen, but I'll move through it. And I just come out a stronger, badder bitch, honestly. So it's like, okay, thanks for giving me something to alchemize.
Can I say your clapbacks are epic? Like I'm like over here taking notes. Like when you clap back in your comment section, okay, like real talk, this is how it goes. Somebody will come in ASO's comment section and she'll screenshot your shit and she sends it to me and she tells me exactly what she said. And like when I read the way you clap back, I'm like, damn, because all I do is erase shit and move on. And I don't really move on because I told you this morning I was up like ruminating about some stuff that happened 2 years ago in the comment section on one of my channel. So all of that to say, like, yeah, we're real humans behind your screen. Like, hi, I'm here. I have skin. I'm real. Like when you say mean things, it's not, or like, well-meaning things that are laced with judgment. Like we see it, we feel it. Like it's already hard enough to wake up and try. To be greeted that way is it yeah, it takes some of the life out of it for us. But when we see that so much encouragement, so much fun happens in the comment section, so much love, so much of you guys cheering each other on. That's one of the things I love to see on my channel. It's when like you guys egg each other on in all of your risks and your steps and like the ways that you're showing up for life despite how challenging this world is. Man, like that breathes, it's like putting oxygen into my lungs. So for you guys who show up that way, not just for us, but for one another, thank you. That's actually that is what like gets me to like make the next video. Like, okay, yeah, there's people out here who do actually get it, who are actually trying to be a light in the world and they're shining light, in my community. So yeah, nobody asked, like, what's it really like to be a content creator? But boom, there's your answer. That is what
Well,
it's really like.
the thing that I love that so many people are becoming content creators is because like I really do think that you cannot understand what it is like to be on the other side until you are there. And like, for example, uh Dave Michelle said, like, I also feel like it can only affect you as much as you let it. And there's truth to that. But also, like, when you are doing something for years and you become psychologically on guard because just to do your job, you have to enter a space of unknown where you are allowing yourself to be judged, perceived, whatever it may be. Like, I feel like there is an underestimation of how things can affect us, and it's not about like letting it, it's about like there's a physical sensation occurring in my body that I can't control. I can't just tell my body, stop having a fight or flight response to this. Like, stop having a freeze response to this. Like, it's something that's deeper than that, especially when you're a sensitive person. Um, but I would definitely say, like, we all have different sensitivity levels, and so it might be easier for some people rather than others to just kind of let go of it. And I think it does take time for you to learn to let go of it. Like, I started YouTube when I was really young. Like, so, I was literally like a baby child. I had a lot to learn and grow about. And like, I think my self-esteem is a lot healthier than it was then. And I have a lot better tools to cope with that stuff. But I do think that, like, in general, when you are sensitive and you're like tuned in, I think that stuff it can just hit a nerve. Like, it can just hit, like, it can just trigger your nervous system without you even reading the full thing. You're just like, oh, someone's mad at me. Or just like, oh, like, so, it's kind of one of those things where you can let it go and you cannot care, which is a great, like, getting to that place. It feels good as fuck. Like, it feels really good. And it's one of those really wonderful things. But also, I don't want to invalidate the reality that, like, when you are in that situation, sometimes you just can't control the way your body or your mind responds to something. And you have to, like, give yourself permission to feel it and go through that, because otherwise you're just avoiding something that's very powerfully calling to you to be addressed within.
Yeah. 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 So there's that. I have some closing questions. You want to do a rapid fire round for closing?
I mean, you know me with rapid fire, but
Okay. Okay, just off the top of your head, like shoot straight from the hip, okay? What are your favorite decks?
well, maybe I
Well, favorite deck in present time, because I know you cycle through them like I.
I can't even, dude. I
Okay,
mean,
pass, pass. What's your favorite anime?
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
What sun, moon, sign combo do you mesh with the most, or just signs generally?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's one that I mesh with most. I adore Taurus moons. Like, that's my favorite moon sign. I think they're great. I also love Gemini moons, though. I feel like I really vibe with them. Scorpio energy, I always vibe with Scorpio energy. Pisces energy, I usually vibe with, unless that Pisces is like, I usually vibe with Pisces. I'll say that. Um, why do I have scary black shark eyes? Probably because I'm on camera and you can't see, like, my irises very well.
No, it's
And
because
because
she's
I
an
have
actual
naturally,
shark.
like, larger pupils. Um,
It's because she's an actual shark, so don't fuck with her. That's why.
I don't know about that. Um,
Don't come for
but
her.
uh yeah, that is
Uh,
actually something though. Like, my eye doctor, I was like, why, like, my pupils will be dilated and someone will ask me, like, why are your pupils dilated? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't realize they are. I can't see my eyes.
she's
And
clairvoyant and she
and
sees
my and
all.
my doctor was like, "Oh, actually, like, that's a thing. Like, you can just have, like, pupils that, yeah. Yeah, they're black because you can see more of the center than the iris."
Well,
So,
somebody
uh
really checked out during the last 15 minutes of convo here. What to ask?
I'm sorry. Y'all, I haven't had much sleep recently, so, like, if my questions or anything like that have not been on point, that's why. I'm sorry.
Do you ever do readings for yourself, for your friends? How does that go? I'll tell you, they're fire.
Yeah, I kind of have a policy with my friends. Like, I love reading for them. I love reading for them, and Uh, I just think it's fun. Honestly, a lot of times I don't use cards. Like there's a part of me that wants to try not using cards, but like I'm EsoTarot and like what are you gonna look at while and also too like I'm worried about channeling and just being. Dude, yeah, Dave Michelle is so right. She just said something so funny. We were talking about negativity and someone said something negative. Like, yeah, like that's just how it is. You just gotta like love and light. Um, well. I got distracted again. This is also partially why I don't do lives is because like I get so distracted. Um,
Which fictional character resembles you the most?
I actually took like a quiz on this. And the top result was Alice Cullen. And I was like, okay, I'll take that.
Okay. Okay, that's a good one. Do you like to travel and where are your favorite places in the world?
I mean, I love to visit places. My favorite places in the world is honestly in like anywhere with a beach, really. There's a lot of places that I want to go that I haven't been yet that, will probably be a part of that. But thinking of a favorite place, my favorite place is my bed. But I really love the Netherlands. I think like that is it's a really chill place. I really like the Netherlands. I also I don't know, there's just so many places I still need to go to. Like England was really cool. Oh, Northern Ireland is spectacular. If you ever have the chance to go to Giant's Causeway, you should definitely go.
Amazing. Thank you. Appreciate
Okay, my turn to ask you, Queen.
it. Okay, sure, go for it.
So which fictional character resembles you the most?
I have no answer. Pass. I don't watch enough TV for that.
No comment from me. We both know I do. Uh, do you ever do readings for yourself, for your friends? How does that go?
Yeah, actually, unless something's going on, I tend to stay out of my chart and other people's chart unless they ask me or I have like a specific question. I don't check it very often. But with friends, I'll definitely read for them and like, because I consider them like part of the family here. And if I can help them in any way, I will. And with certain friends, like we're close enough where I'm able to direct channel for them. So I don't need a chart, I don't need cards. I can just see what's happening in the situation. How am I doing at that as a direct channel?
She kicks ass at that, I'll tell you what. Like, if my ass is grass, she mows it every time. Like, this just is so good. Like, I mean, I don't even have a wig, and she snatches it like every time. Like, it's just so good, so talented, so amazing. Like, literally, just
Same way.
chef's kiss.
Yeah, same way. Like every time you direct channel for me, I'm like, this bitch done read me for filth. And my whole life. How does she know all of that? Yeah, it's pretty awesome. What's the next question?
Um, this isn't a question that's on here, but it is a question I want to ask you. And that is about where is the lunar update question? I really need you to answer that one because it's such a good.
Oh, how people should interact with the lunar update?
No, it is something else. It was like, uh, in general, what role do lunar phases play in astrology?
Great. I love that question. It's a little bit longer of an answer, but I'm going to try to keep it short. Our solar system radiates out from the sun and rotates around it. It is the generational light source. Our moon reflects that light back to us at night here on Earth. And so, with reflective light, we get the opportunity for mirrors to be able to see with clarity. At the full moon, we get the opportunity to see what's come to completion. At the new moon in the darkness, where there is no light, we get the opportunity to meditate on what we would like to bring in and birth. When I'm reading at the new and the full moon on my YouTube channel, because that's when I post updates, lunar updates, what I'm reading is because there are planets making aspects to the moon at the new and the full. What I'm reading is the reflective process of our collective growth, what we're releasing and what we're stepping into. And then I add interpretation for how you can use it personally to facilitate your next steps instead of just being pushed around by energies.
And that being said, I have shared them before, and I will say it again. You need to be watching K Moon's lunar updates. They're fantastic. They're just always on point. And, if you are somebody who has a counterpart or something like that, and you are one of the ones asking me, can you do readings only for counterparts? Uh, just watch those lunar updates. You're gonna get everything you need on those. I promise you. I promise you. And my love readings encompass all types of relationships, so counterparts are not excluded.
Love it. Yeah, your love readings are bomb. Even your like what you recently did a reading called WTF is going on in my life.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one. That was so good. I was like, how is she so on point? Okay, so this is my turn to ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
What is the magic behind like, okay, so there's 300,000 some plus, almost 400,000 subscribers on your channel. You made three piles. Why do so many of us resonate with a singular pile?
It's a great question. And the answer comes down to number one, tarot, a tarot deck shows images, archetypal images of the human experience. So these are things that we all go through. And the reality is that we're not that different from each other. I guarantee you, you walk past people every day that are going through similar struggles as you just have no idea. I also want to add that if census numbers are correct, there's around 8 billion people on the planet. And if you take 300,000 out of that, it's a very, very small number actually in actuality. But then it actually gets way smaller when you think about who's actually coming to the reading, who's picking each group, that. And I think one reality is that a lot of us are going through very similar things. It's just the semantics of what's happening are different. And so in collective and general readings, you're kind of looking more at the main ideas and how they correlate those energies, like what the root of the issue is. And then I add in the semantics that I see. And so really, what it comes down to is as souls, like we are all connected. And I think like, yeah, like what Dame Michelle said, like we're all connected. And I think that, our problems are more similar to each other than we realize. And I think that many of us are oftentimes going through the same things, dealing with the same fears, having the same ambitions and dreams and questions and curiosities. And so, I think the cool thing about general readings is that they give you the opportunity to get some real insight for free. I've like the one stipulation I do have is that you need to have enough of a connection with yourself to be able to trust yourself. You can't give your power away. And so, sometimes y'all ask me like, "Hey, can you pick a pile for me?" No, no, I will not be picking your pile for you. No. I already do energy checks so that you can like know whether or not if the group is for you. And that's always at the beginning. So it's not like you have to sit through things that aren't for you. And also, you shouldn't be watching pick a card readings if you can't pick a group for yourself. You need to have enough of like a willingness to choose and try and like trust yourself. Um, yeah.
That- I think that's one of the things
Thanks, Samantha.
where like we built cards and stars for is so that you can build that interior conversation with yourself to really trust like each step you're taking from the smallest to like which pile do I pick on ASOS channel to the biggest, like should I relocate to France this year? Which has definitely been on my mind, but I digress. And with that, I think we should close out timing wise, yeah? Do you want to
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. You guys have been so awesome.
Girl, did you like doing this?
Yeah, I did. I did. It was really cool. Like, I mean, I've done lives before, but I feel like I'm just always, I don't know. I feel like I'm probably at a point now where I could probably do them and be fine. I guess it's just pressure, you know? Because like I'm impulsive and sometimes shit just comes out of my mouth that maybe
Same.
it shouldn't. Like,
Same. I think we have a very interestingly placed Uranus in both of our charts, and so sometimes don't just what did you say in last night's voice note? You were like, yeah, I got that dog in me. Like people don't need to come for me if they don't want to be come for. I was like, damn girl, yes. That's tea.
I think I said I got that dog in me though, because I just don't like tap into like because there were questions like how do you tap into your shit? I'm like, I just don't, I just raw dog it. I don't want to know, honestly. I just go. Like I
Yeah.
just
For us, it's
yeah.
a matter of turning it off more than tapping in and turning it on.
Or I just put my fingers in my ears, go, "Ah, ah, ah, I can't hear you. You can't talk to me if I play video games for so long, I don't have a conscious thought. Like um anyway,
Time for this live because we are about to get real with ourselves and with you guys. So, with that said, thank you all for being here. We really hope you join us for Cards and Stars. It is going to
please do.
be
This is your only chance, by the way, because I don't know if we're ever doing this again.
yeah, because if you're on my channel, you know it's rare for me to do the same thing twice. I like have to keep evolving and changing and shifting and yeah, this is it. So if you want to learn some tarot with ASO, you want to start with the major arcana, this is the time to do it. And I'll be backing it up with a bit of astrology. And this will we can continue the Q&A discussions over there and
I
share more
love
of our interior secrets and like just how we do this thing called life, love, cards, the stars. We'll be sharing all of that with you in our office hours each Friday.
spots are not limited, Kayla. Please feel free to show up. One of the things is we want everyone to have, you know, this for as literally for a lifetime. And when it comes to the Q&As, you know, if there is a high volume of people and we're not able to get to everyone in Q&As, then we will like regroup and maybe do multiple a week or something like we'll figure it out. Like there will be a place for you there. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um,
yeah.
okay. Well, with that said, thank you all for being here.
I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here and just giving such wonderful feedback and just, you know, for being awesome and for, you know, yeah, just thank you. I love you guys and I love you, Kay, and I love you guys so much.
I love you too. It was awesome to do this with you and to build a course with you. You're a lot of fun to work with behind the scenes. Your vision, your creativity, like your intuition about like the way we need to like lay certain things out and do certain things is just, it's top tier. And it's been a real privilege to co-create with you. And I look forward to sharing what we've created with everyone here. So.
All right. Well, good morning, Christian, and bye, guys. I'll see you later.